Imagine you wake up tomorrow morning and something feels wrong. It takes you a second to realize what it is. You can't hear your own thoughts anymore. You think get up, but there's no voice saying it. You think about what to eat, and there's just silence. No inner narrator, no quiet commentary running in the background of your mind. Just images, urges, blank space where a voice used to be. You'd panic almost immediately because that voice, the one narrating your life, planning your day, arguing with you about whether to hit snooze, feels like the most permanent part of who you are. It feels like it's always been there. Except it hasn't. Not for most of human history. Not even close. To understand where that voice in your head actually came from, we have to go back. Not a few hundred years, not a few thousand. We're going back over 3 million years to a small, upright walking creature that scientists would later name Lucy. Lucy was an Australopithecus, one of our earliest known ancestors. She had a brain about a third the size of yours. She could walk on 2 legs, she could use simple tools. But here's the question that actually matters for this video. Could Lucy hear a voice in her head the way you do right now? Almost certainly not. And the reason why takes us straight into one of the strangest investigations in human evolution. Let's start with the animals, because this is where it gets surprising, and it starts to explain Lucy's silence. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, share about 98% of our DNA. They can learn sign language, they can solve puzzles, they form alliances, hold grudges, even seem to grieve. But here's the catch. Chimpanzees, in the wild or in captivity, have never been observed doing what you did this morning with your missing keys. They don't mutter instructions to themselves. They don't verbally walk through a problem. Scientists who study primate vocal behavior have found something fascinating. Non-human primates have remarkably little voluntary control over their own vocalizations. Even highly intelligent monkeys and apes cannot be trained to alter the sounds of their own calls. Their vocal system is locked, wired for fixed alarm calls and emotional signals, not flexible, self-directed speech. So if a chimp can't even modify a single sound on command, the idea of it narrating its own thought process out loud isn't just unlikely, it may be biologically impossible. But other animals do something interesting. Birds, for example. Zebra finches, small songbirds known for their complex songs, do something that looks eerily similar to rehearsal. Researchers have found that adult zebra finches actually rehearse highly variable versions of their songs while they sleep. It's like their brain is running practice sessions in private, refining the performance for later. It's not language, it's not self-talk in our sense, but it's a hint, a clue that the building blocks for practicing alone go deeper into the animal kingdom than we might expect. Something in the brain, across species, seems to benefit from quiet rehearsal. Humans just took that ancient trick and weaponized it with language. So when did humans cross that line? When did silent rehearsal become actual self-directed speech? When did Lucy's silent mind become your noisy one? Here's where the story gets fascinating. It almost certainly didn't start as a private habit. It started as something done entirely out loud, in public, as a survival skill. Imagine early humans making stone tools. This wasn't simple. It required dozens of precise strikes, judged angles, careful pressure. Researchers studying the origins of speech point to something critical. As human anatomy changed, better breath control, more dexterous lips, a repositioned voice box, humans gained a level of vocal control no primate ever had. Compared with non-human primates, humans developed dramatically enhanced control over breathing, allowing exhalations to stretch and inhalations to shorten precisely for speech. Once that hardware existed, something remarkable became possible. Humans could narrate complex actions step by step, out loud, while doing them. And that wasn't just useful for talking to other people, it turned out to be useful for talking to yourself. This is where developmental psychology hands us one of the most important clues in this entire story. In the 1930s, a psychologist named Lev Vygotsky started paying close attention to something every parent has noticed but few scientists had studied seriously. Small children talk to themselves constantly while playing. A toddler stacking blocks might say out loud, "This one's too big. Try the smaller one. There." Nobody taught them to do this. Nobody's listening. Vygotsky proposed something radical for his time. This wasn't meaningless babble. It served an intellectual purpose, helping children guide their own thinking and action step by step. And here's the part that connects directly to evolution. Children are, in a sense, doing out loud what adults eventually learn to do silently. Every single human being in their own lifetime replays the exact evolutionary journey we just talked about. We are born narrating everything out loud. Slowly, year by year, that narration goes underground until it becomes the silent voice in your head. In other words, your inner voice isn't something you were born with. It's something your brain built, the exact same way humanity built it, starting loud, ending quiet.
Now, here's the twist that should genuinely surprise you. If self-talk started as an out-loud survival and learning tool, why does it ever go quiet at all? Why don't adults just keep talking through every task like a toddler stacking blocks? The honest answer? We never actually stopped. We just got better at hiding it. Studies tracking the development of private speech show it doesn't disappear, it evolves through stages, moving from loud talking to whispering to silent mouth movements, and finally to fully internal inaudible speech. Your inner monologue right now, the one reading this sentence in your head, is neurologically the exact same mechanism as a 5-year-old narrating a Lego tower. It just got quieter and faster as your brain matured. That means when stress, fatigue, or intense focus hit you and you suddenly start muttering out loud again, you haven't lost control. Your brain is simply reverting to its original default setting. The toddler never left. He just learned to whisper.
So why would evolution bother keeping this around at all? Talking to yourself on its surface looks wasteful. It uses energy. In dangerous environments, it could even attract predators. The answer lies in what self-talk actually does for cognition. Researchers studying the connection between language and thought argue that specifically human cognition is deeply intertwined with speech itself, and that when the tools of language turned inward, they enabled a kind of symbolic reasoning other animals simply don't have access to. Translation? Language didn't just let humans talk to each other. It gave humans something close to a new operating system for thought, planning multiple steps ahead, imagining hypothetical scenarios, holding an idea in mind while comparing it to another idea. None of that requires language in theory, but in practice, our brains use inner speech as the engine that runs it. A chimp can want a banana. A chimp cannot sit alone and think, if I climb this tree, the other chimp might take my spot, so maybe I should wait. That kind of layered conditional reasoning appears to require something language-like running underneath it. We talk to ourselves because, evolutionarily, that's how our species learned to think about thinking.
Let's bring this back to today, because the implications are bigger than they first appear. That ancient toolmaker muttering instructions to himself 70,000 years ago, and you muttering, "Where are my keys this morning?" are running the exact same evolutionary software. Lucy, 3 million years ago, had none of it. Somewhere between her silent mind and yours, evolution built the voice you can't imagine living without. The specific words changed, the hardware didn't. Athletes talking themselves through a play, students narrating math problems, you rehearsing an argument in the shower. None of this is a modern habit. It's one of the oldest cognitive tools our species ever built, repurposed for an entirely different world. And maybe that changes how you should think about it. The next time you catch yourself talking out loud to an empty room, you're not being weird. You're running a 70,000-year-old survival mechanism that helped your ancestors make tools, solve problems, and eventually build everything around you, including the device you're watching this on. If learning where your inner voice actually came from changed how you think about it, hit like and subscribe. Every week, we dig into the deep, weird origins of the things your brain does without asking your permission. And if you're curious, do you talk to yourself more when you're stressed or when you're focused? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. See you in the next one.